Today we will start with exploring what branches are and the specific problems that they solve. In the next part, we will move on to a live demo of Balancy's new branches feature. We will see it in action. And here also, Misha will show you how all Balancy users can switch to a new mode of working with the platform. And finally, we will wrap up the session by guiding you through how to get started with branches, focusing on more technical integration. So this last part might be more relevant for developers rather than users of the platform like monetization managers and game designers. So let's get started. In your LiveOps pipeline, you might be working on several features simultaneously, and you would need to test them independently. This is a very common challenge, and it's very well solved with a method called branches. So what are branches? Branches are separate versions of your project, where different features or updates are being developed in parallel. So that means like each branch is like a copy of your main project that you can modify without affecting the rest of your project. And this allows you to work on new features, test changes, fix bugs without disrupting the live version of the game. And here on the slide, you can see a schematic of how a workflow with branches can look. We have a master branch or master project. Then we have some additional branches where all the fixes are going on, where all the new features are being developed. And once a feature is complete and tested, the branch can be merged back into the main project, ensuring the main version remains stable and at the same time, the new development continues. So why using branches for your workflow? We have outlined here key benefits for your workflow that you will get with branches. First of all, reduce conflicts. By that, I mean that team members will be able to work on different features simultaneously without interfering with each other, without disrupting each other's workflow. Secondly, experiment safely. You will be able to test new ideas in branches without affecting the main game version. And if your experiment fails, you can simply discard the branch and return to the stable version. Also, branches give you a very clear overview of history of changes. So it helps you to pinpoint like when and where some issues or bugs or some wrong decisions were introduced. Another benefit of branches is that it helps you to manage multiple game versions if you need it. In some games, you have a new version of the game, but you would like to maintain old versions of the game as well, because maybe your players are reluctant to update to the latest version. So you want to maintain multiple game versions, and with branches, you can easily do that. And overall, branches really encourage you to make more frequent updates, and that is why they're perfect for games as a service model that require these frequent updates. With branches, this will be much more convenient and with minimum errors and bugs. So right now, I will give a word to Misha, who will make a demo of this feature, how it looks in Balancy.
Thank you. So let's share my screen, and I will show you how we create the project and how we start working with this project, how we set everything up, and how we will use branches then to develop some parts of the project without influencing with other parts. So for example, we're creating the new LiveOps project with LiveOps package. I will call it branches demo. And we will see how with branches everything starts. So we will see the basic initial branch on dev environment, which is serving as a root point, as a starting point of everything. We will have the branches list now here, where previously we had environment selector. Now there will be a list of all available branches. As you can see, currently we have only one branch connected to dev environment and nothing else. We can go to deploy page here. We can see undeployed changes that are happened because of the LiveOps package being installed. Here we can see branch settings for this particular branch, and you can rename it right here, but I will not do it right now. I will show you later. And you can also add the branch description. For example, I will call it initial dev branch. And after that, you can actually start working with the project. You might want to set up additional branches on other environments, on staging, on production, just for future use from the start. I will show you how to do it. So we are on the dev right now. First of all, let's make first deploy. And as you can see, we now support descriptions for deploy. So here I will put the initial LiveOps package installation. Deploying everything. And from that particular moment, we can create new branch. From this point, I will wrap it up. Creating new branch, which will be used for, let's say, QA, for the same build version, and for the stage environment. And let's call it initial QA branch. Creating it and immediately switching to it. So we can see here that we have two branches now, and we are on stage. And everything went here as it was at the moment of creating new branch. Imagine that now we need to have a production. We are currently at the stage when everything is tested, but we still don't have a production version of our game. So let's create a new branch from the stage, and that will be called, I will call it master branch, the single version on production environment, and it will be production branch. Creating it. And after that, the basic setup is complete. You can connect this branch to your game client. You can log in to production, to master, to stage, whatever. They are ready for use. Now, if we want to add some content, for example, here, let's create some new template. For example, it will be an item with icon. We will inherit it from our basic item template, just to add the new parameter called icon of the type sprite. Let's create it and let's put it on the first place. Saving it. And let's add some sprite here with gold coins. We can use it later. So now let's create the first document of that template. Let's call it key gold, and it will be gold. So the item gold with a gold item icon and type of currency. That's okay. Now we can use it everywhere. For example, let's create a store item with the same sprite and price for free, and it will give out these like 10 gold coins. We can name it the same, and we now can create the offer. Offer. Let's create the new string like free gold, sprites, and this store item with 10 golds for free. This is pretty good amount of work we've done. Let's deploy it. Gold item and offer created. After that, we would like to send this amount of work to QA managers to check. How we do it? We can switch to QA branch, and we can now merge those changes here with merge functionality. So let's select branch from. We will take the changes to the current branch where we are right now, and we merge, and let's deploy right now. Merged gold offer from dev. Let's say that's what we've done. And after merging, we will see that everything is here ready for testing. It appeared here. QA managers can test it, and after they test, we can merge the same way from QA branch to master. So our users will enjoy our new update. Released gold offer and deploy. So that is the main workflow we encourage you to use to move any new content from development to testing and finally to production. Let's get back to development branch and imagine the situation when you want to split development in two parallel tracks. For example, you want some team member to work on new store items without interfering with what the rest of the team is doing. So from development branch where we are right now, let's create new branch and let's call it feature using our feature for namespaces. Feature new gold packs, for example. And branch for new gold packs, it will be called, so we will not forget about what we are doing here. And it will be on dev environment. Let's create it. Now, as you can see here, we have namespace for feature that I created right now, and the dev environment and the feature branch where we are. And here we can add some new store items, for example, for gold for ads, and for viewing one ad, we will give 100 of gold coins. And let's create a name. It will be key gold ad, gold for ad. Saving. And after that, we can send this part of work to QA, for example, or we can merge it back to main development. Let's do this. We go to development, the main development branch, and we will merge it from feature branch to dev branch. And let's deploy it later, because maybe something else was done there which we don't know about, and we don't know to mess up and deploying too early. So these changes are not deployed, but they are here. As you can see, the new gold pack is added. After that, when we will go to QA and we will merge everything from dev environment to QA, like the whole bunch of work that was done by all team members. Let's deploy right now. Some new content appeared. We will see that everything was taken from dev branch to QA. Here we can see everything appeared. Now let's talk about another kind of situation that happening from time to time. For example, when you release something to production, but it appears that you have to make some hot fix there. Let's go to master. And for example, let's change the icon. Imagine that we released the wrong icon to production, and we want to change this one. So let's go to deploy, and we create new branch from production as a starting point, and let's call it like hot fix. It will be in hot fixes namespace. Author icon fix, and it will be on. Let's create it on stage environment, so our QA managers will test it on stage before releasing the fix. We're creating it. And let's add the new asset, which I would use this gold bars. And we will go to author and change the icon here. Okay, and let's change it here as well. And this is it. This is the fix. Let's deploy it to stage environment. So our QA team will test it on the QA build, which is using the accounts on stage environment. Now they can test it. And when everything is good, we go back to master and merge this hotfix from hotfix branch, which is already tested and everything good, and we have approval, back to production and deploy right now. Released icon hotfix and deploy. Now, as you can see, everything is deployed, and let's just double check that this offer now on production has changed icon. Since we have this hotfix in separate branch, we can now take it to any other branch, so we're not losing it. Let's merge it back to the main dev. So this hotfix change will stay with us in future updates. We switch to dev, and we will merge. Let's deploy first that everything has been accumulated while we were working, and let's merge from this hotfix again as the main source, the only main source of this fix now, back to dev branch. We will not deploy it, just add it to the scope of work that existing there. And let's check that on dev we have this hotfix applied as well. I think we covered everything except what will happen if we make the same changes on different branches and we will merge them together. We will have conflict. Let's imagine that it happened here. So some team member on dev branch changed this free gold to, let's say, 50. And they deployed and they keep playing with it, testing, like development and doing all the other stuff. But at the same time, the person who was working on the separate feature for new store items, here you can see it's still 10, but they decided to change it to 20. Well, some miscommunication obviously happened, and they too deployed and they continue to work. At some point, some other team member went to dev and they wanted to take again everything that was done on this feature branch, and they went here to take this feature branch, and we see conflicts are found. So now we have to resolve them. Let's open this screen for resolving conflicts, and here we see that the gold item was changed, so the amount of the gold has changed in the store item. This one, free gold store item, the item that it contains, and the amount of this component. So count, the parameter count of this component has changed, and we now have to solve this conflict. Right now, in the first version, MVP version of branches, we will resolve these conflicts always towards the branch where we're taking changes from. So we imagine that we are taking something that is much more fresh and new and correct. So when I will press merge in dev branch, this 50 will be changed to 20. Deploy later. As you can see, the amount that was on dev for some time has changed to 20 that was taken from feature branch. Let's check that it is here. Yes, 20 is taken from feature branch. Later, we will improve the conflict resolving feature, and we will provide the way to manually select which value to keep, the value from source or the value from target. So I guess now I showed you all the applications, and I think the only one question from you would be, what will happen with all our projects that are currently working on 3 environments without branches? I have an old project here, which was created in the old system. And what will happen when I first open this project after we release branches? Let's choose this one. The system will ask me which one of these 3 environments will be now serving as the initial branch from which we will later create all additional branches that we will need. I would strongly recommend you to select the dev environment, because usually the dev contains the most recent changes comparing to production, which could be like 2 weeks old. So you will keep all these changes in the initial branch, and you can then transfer them whatever you want. What will happen to the rest of the environments, the 2 environments that are left there, stage and production? They will have limited functionality in terms of branching. Let's see what's this limitation. So now the project was converted to the branches system. We have dev branch, which has the full functionality of the branching system here. We can create new branches from it, we can merge. But if we select, for example, production, we see that we can only deploy there. We cannot merge anything to this branch, and we cannot create new branches from it. That means that your players who are currently connected to production and they are playing there, everything will be there untouched. Everything will be good. You can even make some changes there, but you cannot take these changes from here to anywhere else. So I would suggest for you to make sure that you don't have any changes that are stuck only on production, for example, or only on stage, because in this way you will not be able to merge them back to development that was chosen as initial branch, because for these 2 environments there will there will be no this function anymore as migration that we used before. So this is it. Sorry for talking too much, but now I'm ready to get the word back to Julia and please have fun.
Well, Misha, don't go away because we have a lot of questions in the chat, and I prefer to answer them now because they were appearing during your presentation. So let's check them. I will even try to show them on the screen. I think I have this feature here. Yeah, this is a question from Sebastian, for example. I think this one was the first. So Sebastian asks, if from one environment branch to another, you can merge only selected offers, or you have to merge everything?
I would love to answer, Mike, if you don't mind. I just wanted to clarify.
I'm a bit tired of talking.
Yes, I can feel it. That's why I am here to help you. So just to be clear, this new branching system is a very big technical transition from the previous Balancy version to the new one. So you should treat it as a MVP, I would say. So whatever Michael showed you after the release, of course, we are going to evolve it. Even the visual graph of how branches are connected, it will not be present on the MVP release. But on the following weeks, of course, we will release it. And at that point, it will be much easier for you to visually understand how branches are connected, where you created one branch from another one, and so on. And coming back to your question, yes, right now you can transfer only everything. So everything you changed in one branch will be transferred to another branch where you are doing merge to. But later, we have in the roadmap the feature we call it cherry picks. It's super similar to Git. In cherry picks, you will be able to choose either a specific deploy. So in one of the branches, you just click on one of the deploy and just pick it up. In that deploy, it could be just offers, A/B tests, or whatever you decide. And the second version of cherry picks will allow you to pick a document which you want to bring to another branch. So yes, it will be possible, but not in the first release, in a couple of weeks.
Thank you, Pavel. Let's move on to the next question. Dmitry wonders, in addition to hotfix, do you have a rollback feature?
Yeah, we call it reverse commits, reverse deploys. But again, we did not test it yet. We have such a feature, but it was not tested properly before the release. So it will not be a part of the initial release, but it will come later within a weeks. So yeah, you will be able to click what exactly you want to revert, and it will be as additional deploy, like reversed of what you did. So if you edit the document will be removed. If you change the parameters, the parameter will be changed back.
Thank you. The next question from Ardalan. When you merge, do you only merge changes you have made or the entire branch? And is there a way to see what will change after the merge before you merge?
It's very similar to the first question. So right now it's entire branch. And Michael briefly showed you the window of the conflicts, which appears when there are some conflicts. So also we will provide additional window which will look similar to the conflicts, but it will serve as a difference. So instead of just like this conflict where you can see them, so in a similar way we will show the difference between branches. So before merging, you will be able to see what you're going to merge exactly. But again, it might come in a week or two, this specific feature, because now we decided to show only conflicts, not everything, because in most cases it could be too many changes, and we need to figure out how we should pack them for your convenience.
Moving on to the question from Connor, with the MVP version and merging, does that mean if someone deletes something accidentally, a data structure template, for example, that they shouldn't have, and we merge that branch into another, it will bring over the deletion as well?
So first of all, there will be some warning about that, like such as conflict. If you especially changed something on the original branch, let's say you added new document, but yes, that will mean that it will be removed because this is a change you made. So that change will be applied to the destination branch in the same manner. But again, if something goes wrong, you can always go to some other branch. Later, you will be able to go to any deploy and make a new branch out of it, or reverse the changes you made accidentally. Everything which we are showing you now today is, I would say, not worse than what we used to have. So of course there are some cons in the current existing solution, but they also exist in the current version of Balancy, which is live now. But after we do this migration to the new system, we will be able to add a lot of features which will save you time and the problems. And even if accidentally something happens, there will be some security checks and rollbacks and stuff like that, which are missing in the existing Balancing.
And we have more questions from Sebastian. So what if there is a conflict between the change from a branch or environment to another in terms of data? For instance, you deploy an offer, a shield for 100 gold, but the shield data hasn't been deployed in the other prod build. And here's the clarification. I mean, DevOps versus LiveOps conflicts.
Well, I assume there is a first branch where there is no shield. There is a second branch which came from some other branch where the shield was created. So in that second branch, I made the change in the shield parameter, a price in your example, and then I merged it back. So in this case, the shield will be created and with the new parameter. If you made the shield but did not deploy it, most likely, I mean, if they're not connected, they will be two different shields because they will have different IDs. If you create them simultaneously on different branches, even if you call them the same way, we will consider them as different items. But most likely you will notice it because two of your game designers created the same items. So you'll have to remove one of them and decide which one is a real shield and which one should be removed. And when you do the merging, you have to deploy. That's one of the conditions for now as well.
By the way, it's easier to decide which copy of this two almost identical items could be like kept or removed because the IDs are incremental, and the bigger the number, the later it was created. So you can understand when it happened and which one is more actual for you.
And one more question from Sebastian. Do you have administration right management so that deployments and merges are validated by manager, for instance?
That's not a big feature. We started working during the summer. We call it publisher account. And that publisher account, you will be able to create different roles and assign different rights. If they could like add templates, change templates, remove templates, or maybe change specific documents of specific type, or even deploy, or if they have access to specific branches. We have all of that, but because we decided to migrate everything to branches, it was very important for many of our clients. We decided to pause that publisher account release and focus on the branches. And once branches are live, we will go back to the publisher account and start working on it, continue working on it, and try to release as soon as possible. And your request about this right is a very good idea, actually. Something like pull requests, I would say, if you compare it to Git.
A question from Ali. For existing projects, can we create branches on staging and production? I assume the existing data on staging and production will be lost. Is that correct?
It won't be lost, but so because the previous version of Balancy worked completely different, so we will not be able to, I would say, merge your current stage and prod. It will be too complicated. So we decided that in most cases, it's just one environment you need the most. So when you pick it, that will become your root branch. And from that branch, you will be able to create other branches, but your dev stage will still exist. They will exist in the sense that you can go there, you can change anything you want, but you never will be able to merge it back to your root, unfortunately. But you will be able to see how is it different from your root branch and apply some changes manually if they're different. But in most cases, what we saw that if your branch, if your environments are very different, there are some reasons because of that. So it's much easier for us to solve it, I would say, in a personal discussion. So let us know why is it different, why you did not use our original flow for moving your content from dev to stage and then to production. And then we will give you a specific advice you need to get the best result.
Also, just to remind you that we still have 3 environments which are used to store users' data, user accounts and analytics, and they are still here. We just have now ability to create many branches that can connect to these environments. So even if this production, for example, will be limited and disconnected from branching system, but the data that is accumulated there from users, from the gameplay, will be there. So when you create the branch connected to the same environment, it will use this data from this environment, which is already there. So nothing should be lost.
Yes, on this point, by the way, I wanted to add that in the existing version, you could compare it with branches, but we call them environments. So you have dev stage and production environment with different data, content data, and different user profiles and all the events they generate and so on. In the new version, we separate those 2 terms. So there are environments, dev stage prod, they will be absolutely the same as existing. And there will be branching, a completely separate feature. And you will be able to connect branches to specific environments, as Michael was showing you during his demonstration. And one environment can have multiple of different branches. So all the data, all the profiles of your users, all the events they generated, it will be there. So nothing changes in this sense. The only difference is that in the way of thinking, how the data now is connected to that environment. So before it was just one-to-one, and now it could be multiple branches connected to one environment.
One more question from Ali. Is there a way to select branches on the client?
Yes, but because I have it in the presentation later, I will cover this with some slides.
Yeah, by the way, after we answer the questions, there's still one part of the webinar left, which is relevant, especially for developers. So please bear with us and wait for this part. So the next question is, okay, this question is from Ardalan. So how merging affect version? In example, if the merging branch has a lower app version, but a higher data version.
Merging does not affect the settings of the branches. So in the branch, you define what kind of clients have access to the data. You define it by selecting the environment and minimum app version. So if you have 2 different branches, when you move the data, it has nothing to do with app version, actually. In your branch, you just specify the conditions once, and you can put any data you want. So you should keep it in mind that if you're planning to merge some data which will not be supported by your clients, you should not do this. In most cases, you need to make a new branch instead and increase app version.
Mm-hmm. And let's feature one last question for this part. And if there are more questions, please leave us them in the chat. We will continue with the presentation and then we will return to the questions. So the question is from 𝗯𝗿𝗫𝗀𝘀. Can we make a branch from a specific deployment in a specific environment? For example, dev want to make a branch from stage environment, deployment number 12.
Not yet, but as I mentioned before, this feature will become available later. Yes, you will be able to pick any deployment you made on any branch and then make a new branch out of the specific deployment. So not yet, but soon.
Awesome. Thank you guys for answering all these questions, and thank you our viewers for leaving these questions. They're really great questions. So let's return to the presentation then. Okay, and yeah, Pavel, we're giving you the word.
Yes, so good news that there are not a lot of changes. Of course, you have to update the plugin once branches are live, because the old plugin will not supporting branching. It will work on the existing dev stage production environments as it is. So don't worry, your existing clients will not feel anything. It will still work. But if you decide to use branching, you have to update the plugin. And once you update it, the only big change you will notice that in the config window, after you do authentication, after you select the game, you will have to select the branch where you want to generate the code or download data from. That's the only big change actually for SDK. It should be very intuitive. You can see it on the screenshot. Everything will be locked until you select everything. And once you do this, the way how you start the plugin, it's not different at all. And Julie, can you switch to another slide? In the app config, there will be one additional but optional parameter called branch. You can put the branch name, but you can omit it. If you put it, that will force your plugin, the game, and with the plugin to connect to a specific branch. But we, I would say, advise to use it only for testing purposes. When you make a QA build or production build, don't put anything there. And in that case, our SDK will be responsible for choosing the correct branch. And I created here some visuals just to show how it thinks. So at the top, you see 3 different builds developed in 3.1.1, stage 3.0.0, and production 2.0.0. So imagine you have 3 different builds and how they pick a branch they should connect to. So SDK first checks environment. So if in my first example, development 3.1.1, it's development. So I just take all the existing branches which connect to the development, and you can see them on the left. There are, in my example, 4 different branches with different app versions. So what I do is that I sort them all from high to low, and then I try to find the highest version, which is lower or equal to my app version. So in this example, it's 3.0 because it's lower than 3.1.1, but 4.0 is higher, obviously. So in my example, SDK will pick development 3.0 branch. Another example of the stage, if it's 3.0.0, SDK checks its stage, it goes to the middle column and finds the exact branch with exactly the same version, 3.0.0. And the last example, it's production. If the build is production 2.0, then it goes to the right column and finds the highest possible version. It's 1.1 because 2.5 is too high of the branch. So it's most likely for the future release or more advanced builds. So just to summarize, SDK is responsible for automatically pick up the most suitable branch. And the criteria are based on the environment plus app version. You have to keep this in mind. So there is nothing you should do about it. But when you set up your branch settings in Balancy, you just need to keep this in mind, how SDK will pick the correct branch. And that's actually it. I hope I answered on the Ali's question, which was asked before. And for the engineers, there is nothing changed in most cases. Just need to remember about those rules, and that's it. Most of the job, most of the difference will be on the platform side.
Thank you, Pavel. So now we still have some time. If there are any questions, or if there are not, we can slowly wrap it up. I also want to mention that if you're interested...
I have one question.
Yes, okay. Misha, давай.
Shall we tell the guys when to expect our update and about the documentation?
Yeah, I think it should not be a surprise. So our goal is we'll try to make everything on during this weekend, this transition. The reason is simple, because most of you will be out of the office. So no one they don't need access to Balancy. We will lock it for an hour or two, most likely. But maybe it will not even be required. So the next week, for sure, when you come back to Balancy, you will see that warning where you have to pick up your root branch. And the documentation will appear.
As soon as you see this warning, you will understand that update has happened already.
Yes, and just to calm you down, don't worry, nothing will change for your existing live projects. So they will not be affected in any way, because we will automatically create branch for all your existing environments. So all the live products will still be connected to the production environment, even if you will not pick production environment as the root. So they will still be connected to it.
And I would like to mention that on this webinar, I know there are our clients, but also some people that are new to Balancy. So if you're interested in the branches feature, demo, personal demo, or Balancy demo in general, you can always set up a demo session with us. I have left the Calendly link in the chat. Please feel free to book a call with our team. And as well, we will be taking part in the PGC Helsinki, Pocket Gamer Helsinki edition, which is coming up next week. If you happen to be there, please feel free to set up a meeting. Always happy to meet and chat. And yeah, with this, I think it's time to wrap it up. Thank you, everyone, for your participation. Thank you, guys, for presenting. I wish everyone a great day.
Thank you. Have a good day.